Dear Mr. David Hearst, thanks a lot for coming to Geneva today to be with us at our workshop with Sharq Forum.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I always like coming to the Sharq Forum because it gets down to business. There's no nonsense, and there are a lot of experts here who know a lot more about this than I do. So I enjoy coming in.
As always, you're being humble. So I have a couple questions for you. Can you inform us about, can the Britain have its own policy irrespective of the US? And if the US doesn't want to have a meaningful, doesn't want to take meaningful steps in the Middle East, what does that mean for the British policy?
Okay. You've got to distinguish between various forms of British policy-making centres. The government is completely paralysed at the state of its ministerial pronouncements about Palestine in the same way that we've heard that Washington is as well, and will not do anything. However, beneath that and below that, there are all sorts of things happening in Britain which are very interesting. Firstly, there's the BDS campaign, and which is quite strong and is alive and well at local government level. So you have this reaction that central government wants to suppress a debate in Palestine about that local government is doing, and wants to suppress BDS by saying that the local government has got no locus, no standing in setting foreign policy. So that's at one level. At a second level, we had an extremely interesting debate in Parliament where some very senior Conservative MPs who had previously stuck by Israel in every forum, turned around and departed from their script and saying, no, we cannot stand this anymore. And that was really interesting. It was a fascinating chink in the armour. Of course, it doesn't bind. This was in a debate about Palestinian, the Palestinian state. It was a non-binding debate, so people were freer to express themselves. But nevertheless, that sentiment happened, and it means that below the surface there is a huge frustration with the status quo. It cannot express itself in government policy, but it's there.
And what that means for Syria, for example, and the British-Syrian policy, that frustration, what does that mean?
I think there are lots of things involved in Britain. There was a debate, a very emotional debate, about whether or not Britain should bomb Syria. And in fact, the opposition lost it, and the bombing took place. But if you actually look at what was said in the debate and what the actual practical questions that it has actually produced, there is a mismatch. So we heard from some Labour MPs that broke ranks, in fact most of them did, that it was essential for Britain to be part of the bombing campaign, even though we couldn't realise what it was about, or define its objectives, or say what the targets were, because Britain had to be at the top table, even if it was in a failing campaign. Since then, the number of bombing missions that British planes have been on have been very, very small. And in fact, it's made virtually no difference. And there's a great deal of fuss made over the Brimstone missile. It's hardly been used. So there is rhetoric and there's reality. And the reality is the British bombing campaign has made absolutely no difference to ISIS.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see you more with Sharq Forum in the future.
Thank you for having me.